Sis, when was the last time you slowed down long enough to connect with the people who really matter to you? Trust me, I know life gets busy work, the kids, the bills, everything. But when's the last time you really slowed down? For me, it took going back home to Trinidad to realize how much I'd been missing. If you're anything like me, you're constantly in motion. You're trying to be everything for everyone: the employee, the mom, the wife, the friend. And sometimes you don't even realize how tired your spirit feels. When I went to Trinidad to visit my granny, I didn't know how much I needed that pause. She's in her 80s, and as I remember, she was strong as ever, but she has not been feeling well lately. And sitting with her reminded me that life doesn't stop for our to-do lists. She's the one who taught me what it means to take pride in your home, feed your family with love, and stay strong no matter what. And in that moment, I realized no promotion, no project, no perfect plan could replace this. So if you've been thinking about taking that trip to see your parents, your granny, your childhood friends, do it. Take the time, connect with family, because moments like that, they don't wait forever. I came home to Trinidad for the first time in 2.5 years, and this trip I actually took with my big brother to visit my grandmother, whose health is not doing very well. So please keep her in your prayers and in your thoughts. We are hoping for continued good news, but things are pretty tough for her at this time. You may not know this, but I was born in Trinidad. I came to Canada, where I live now, when I was 11 years old, but I was born and raised in Trinidad. So I have a pretty unique relationship with my family and my friends that live here because this is truly where I call home. This is where I feel like I come back to myself, and I have so many fond memories here. And honestly, I would say about 90% of my family, 80 to 90% of my family live in Trinidad. And when you live away, you just tell yourself, I'll come visit soon. It's not really on the top of your priority list, if we're honest. You're more sort of, I was more focusing on, going to Mexico or going to, Bali or Japan or these countries that I never visited. But after coming here for this trip, I've decided that I need to kind of put it in a regular rotation to come back home on a more consistent basis. But this particular trip, I came home to see my grandmother. She hasn't been doing very well. My brother and I talked about it. We had some extra time and we thought, let's book the trip and let's come. We brought my niece with us, and I left my son at home and my husband at home, and I came to visit my grandmother. I didn't want to wait too long to tell her, things that we don't always tell our loved ones. I wanted to spend some time holding her hand and telling her how much I love her and how much she means to me and how much she's influenced the woman that I am today. And thankfully, have been able to sit with her and have that conversation. She was very emotional, but right now I'm gonna go spend a lot more time with her. We'll be able to spend like an entire day just kind of pouring into her, and maybe even longer depending on how things. But something that I don't think I have experienced because I left my family in Trinidad when I came to Canada is the grieving process when someone hasn't yet passed on. Like watching the grieving process of watching someone change and turn into someone that you're not necessarily familiar with just because their body is deteriorating and they're getting older. It's just natural life. But I am grieving the grandmother that I knew. I'm grieving my great aunts and great uncles that I once knew on this trip because they just look so much different. They're not as, mobile and running around as much as I remembered them doing when I was a little girl. And it's been really tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty tough. And I'm constantly realizing how fragile our lives are and how important it is to take care of your body, take care of your mind, because it's not promised forever. You know, it can change in the blink of an eye. There is no guarantee that we will continue to look the same and move the same and function the same. There is more of a guarantee that we won't. My older brother and my niece returned back to Canada today. We are now on the plane, and honestly, spending time with him was so healing, and spending time with her was so precious. Like, she's so cute, so adorable, so sweet. She definitely missed her mom, but she had a really good time with her aunt. And spending time with my brother, like, as we get older, we don't have time to spend with our siblings like that, undivided. Like, we have jobs, we have kids, we have mortgages, we have bills, we have so on and so forth. And being on this trip with him, it was so healing to have time uninterrupted, just spending time with each other. We would put her down for her bedtime, and we would go on walks and just talk and catch up. And, there was no rush of, we have to do this now, you have to do that now. It was just kind of like time stopped for a bit, especially being off of social media for those days. And for me as well, this trip has given me space to just be with myself, without a rush, without pressure, without deadlines, just me, my thoughts, what I want to do for the day. And we all know that's practically non existent as mothers, as working mothers, as women, like navigating life. We don't really get that time to ourselves. And it's been helping me figure out who I am right now. It's coming back to Trinidad, I always feel so young because I left here when I was 11. So people still see me as an 11-year-old girl, but in reality, I'm now I'm in my 30s, I'm a 30 something year old woman with a husband and a mortgage and a baby and responsibilities and a platform and all these things. Like, I'm not the young girl that they once knew, but they still see me that way. And sometimes I start to feel that way as well. But sometimes you really have to just come home so that you can remember who you are, remember whose you are. Because I have been getting into my word, doing my devotions, my worship, and just seeing my aunts, seeing my uncles, not my great aunts or my great uncles, but my aunts and my uncles that are like my parents' age, and seeing the things that they have achieved for themselves. And it's just really motivating me, and seeing the people, honestly, who have also failed. And I want to be careful and just say, like, failed in the sense of the materialistic things that we hope and dream for, and also just like with their families, like their families have not stayed together and they just haven't achieved the success that they thought that they would. But I'm really aware more than ever of the impact of our decisions, because I'm seeing them 2 years later, the people I saw 2 years ago and who they are now, and they're seeing the same in me, and I hope they think, things are going well, but I honestly don't put a lot of stock in it. For me, it's just about realizing that when you have time, and even when you don't have time, just like every day, make it purposeful. You don't have to do a million things a day, but it's important to go after your goals. It's important to be purposeful. It's important to want more for yourself and want more for your life and want to help your community and want to develop your friendships. Like, these decisions that we take as just like, it's my winter arc and it's Q4 and it's, all these fancy, trendy terms that we give things that we're doing right now that are on trend and fun and going viral and all that. It's not really about that. Those things could make a huge impact in your life, but more than anything, it's important to understand that who you are today and the decisions that you make every day and the habits that you have and the routines that you have are going to determine your future. It's going to determine whether you end up living paycheck to paycheck when you retire in your 60s. It's gonna determine a lot of things. It's gonna determine your future. So right now, more than ever, it's important to, buckle down, sacrifice, and work hard, and also keep God at the center, because without God, nothing is possible. Okay. And honestly, Trinidad is such a beautiful island. It's such a beautiful island. If you've never been, you really should visit. I fall in love with this island every time I come, and sometimes I forget how good we have it. Trinidad is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. The people, the food, the beaches, everything was just absolutely gorgeous. And it's not just a destination, it really is a whole experience because the people, the culture, and just the overall heart of the island is like no other. This is not North America. Like there is a stark difference. People genuinely care for you here, you know? Like for example, my uncle has been calling me down because he wants to know when I'm coming by my grandma's house so that he can cook for me and make sure that I have things that I need. Like the hospitality is not normal, you know, and it's a culture shock when you go to North America and you realize, yeah, like this is different. Not everybody treats people this way. They're not individualistic like we are. Like North Americans are, they're very much about community. Overall, if there is one thing that I could take away from this trip, it's not to wait to spend time with the people that you love. Make the trip, send the message, and show up. You never regret showing up for love, you only regret when you don't. If you're watching this and it's been a while since you have gone home, maybe this is your sign. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below what you miss most about home.